By experience.
Mm, yeah. Do you go back, like, are you in it? Is it playing out? I just,
Yeah, do you
nope.
remember in pictures like a movie?
Nope, I just haven't got it. It's only been what last 4 months I've been starting to actually feel like I've seen my dreams.
Mm, well, that's,
I had to talk with him, and
maybe.
he said two dark things, but they probably prohibit me from seeing it.
Mm,
So she removed them, and yeah, now I see instead of just pure darkness, I see light. But the light is way too bright, like staring at the sun.
mm.
But maybe it's like everything else, more practice, more practice.
I know. Lines.
So you said I should try seeing my memories instead.
Well, what's an item that something that you can that you know well?
My bird.
That's what I had. That was exactly what I had. So just with your eyes closed, relaxed. You ready, want to? Well, can we try something?
Yeah.
It's just your eyes closed. Imagine. So can you observe yourself?
It's not like observing, it's more like feeling myself.
Okay,
I
good.
more
And
like
so it's
feel like I'm observing myself. That that feeling I do get, but I don't get a
but
picture.
that's your internal. You're internalizing that though. Fine, that's perfect. It's like that's a good one. Now go outside yourself and look at you just sitting there. Can you imagine that?
Hmm. Yeah,
It's like arising above yourself and looking at yourself. It's like looking at yourself like a reflection. Could you just imagine what that would look like? What you would look like just sitting there?
yep.
So now you're observing yourself. What do you see observing yourself?
Hmm. again, I don't really see it. It's more like a feeling to me.
Mhm. And then
More
in
like
that feeling,
feeling
make
I'm
up what you
hovering around,
see. Mm.
make it what I see.
Did you say, so you get the feeling, did you get the feeling hungry?
No, I get the
No.
feeling of looking at myself that I'm sitting with my legs crossed, with my feet up, with my phone in my hand. I can see everything, even though I don't really feel my legs or the phone in my hand,
Yeah,
but I get a feeling of just hovering outside, behind my body,
yeah.
sort of not in front of it,
Mm.
more like I'm behind, just looking down at me sitting like this.
Mhm.
And not like I moved out of my body, it's more like I moved to the back of the head and then looking forward. It's not much I
Yeah,
move around.
yeah. So are you still in the body or are you out of the body?
Mhm. Sort of half, or what do you say?
Mm.
Just looking out over, I would guess, what, a hand above the forehead or something. It's not like it's only my sort of my eyes, so like I can make them look from side to side and sort of like
Mm.
the energy.
It's,
I'm the energy surrounding my body.
yeah, that's all we are. That's all we're observing. That's all we are becoming is the energy around our body.
And the third eye hurts like, ow. I'm really good at getting to this point, but it's then I don't get further. It's like I can see the reality of what the body is doing.
You know what I get is you're still attached to the physical eyes.
Hmm. Whoa. Feels funny.
If you imagined yourself outside of your body, how would you see, how would you look? What would you feel like?
Good question. Feel very light now.
Mhm. Would you take the shape of something, the form of something? Or is it just you?
Again, darkness and light. It depends on where in the floating state I am. Sort of like going up in an elevator.
Mm.
But I do
No,
believe you're right about I'm still attached to my eyes because that's where I feel I want to see something
yep, yep.
from the middle of my face. But I do get a pain in the front of above my eyes, where the third eye should be, like, hey, I'm open. Why don't you look through me? But
Mhm.
it's like I can't move my sight to there in a way. If I move it up, it just feels like I'm floating away.
Yeah, we get so focused on our physical senses that we don't even realize we've got a whole set of multidimensional ones.
Mhm. I think it's that word "see" that really, hey, you need to look through me. Hey, 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 I'm the one seeing here.
Yeah.
It's much more like when I disconnect from the eyes, it's sort of like looking at the inside of my skull and just going upwards through it.
Good. Good. Now just explore that. That's where I want you to explore. Just kind of explore the space inside there. And don't look for anything, just explore it. Feel around, because it is like feeling around in the dark.
Mhm.
What are the edges? What's the boundaries? Are there boundaries?
Just like waves.
And just feel or imagine like you're in an amphitheater, you know? It's like the edges are your skull because you're inside your head, just kind of looking into the center. It's focusing all that light as a spotlight.
Mhm.
And what appears is your bird right in the center of your head. What does the bird look like? What is the bird doing?
Mhm.
And just watch what the bird does. Imagine what the bird would do. The bird that's in your head. Maybe it's just sitting there. Maybe it's just lying there.
It's much more like watching an oscilloscope or something. That waves of light are coming through the darkness.
Good. Do you see just the bird, or do you see the cage and the bird?
I'm not seeing anything.
Hmm.
It's light with, or darkness with waves of light, I see. Like watching a TV transmission or something with the snow channel. Sometimes there are more light, sometimes there's more darkness. Much more like looking at signals.
Hmm.
Oh my God, I feel
Did you go for a walk this morning?
yep. Rain or snow, I'm out walking.
I figured you were.
That's where I feel most calm.
Were you out early enough to see the full moon set?
It's really cloudy here. I saw the beginning
Yeah,
of the
it's
full
cloudy
moon.
here too. I'm a little bit ripped off. I heard
I
it was
saw it when it
spectacular.
started. Yeah, I saw it when it started. Wow. Yesterday evening, and then all of a sudden, because it had been raining a lot that day, no, it had been real clear, but then it started to take up to rain, and then woof, it was just cloudy all over. But at least I got to see the first 3 hours, 4 hours. Mm. Feels like flying.
Yeah. As you're flying, observe yourself walking, see yourself walking. See yourself walking this morning, just as you remember it, just as you can recall it, just as it is. Just notice where you are as the observer. Hmm.
I have the feeling this is something I should be practicing a lot more than I have done. Ooh, I get almost nauseous from it. Ooh. Because everything comes in waves.
Mm. Mm. What does it feel like when I say there's a doorway? There's a door to your imagination right in front of you.
Feels like I can't see it. I almost had the full moon there.
And just ask why you can't see it. This door is the door to your imagination. Why can't you see it? Why can't I see it? Why is it dark? You might have to feel that one.
Got the feeling because you're looking in the wrong place.
Will you show me the right place? Is there a version of you that was imaginative, creative? Is there a younger version of you?
Well, that's far back. I sort of avoided my brain for a long time. When I was
Perfect.
30, when I was 13, I was way more free than this.
Mhm.
But then I was put on medication and started smoking weed,
Mhm.
sort of to silence that. Because I couldn't concentrate in school like that. But as soon as I started with medication and weed, I was an A student.
I'll just connect it back to that 13-year-old before then.
Hmm.
It's like grabbing hands, like reaching out, reaching back to that 13-year-old self. Just before the medicine and the weed, just before all of that. And just let me know when you're together. And you've held hands.
I feel the blockages, and it's always saying, hey, it's not being present. Present. It's right now. It's sort of like I'm fighting my own. It's not ego. It's the way I thought of chose to live 7, 8 years ago when I just said, hey, I'm just gonna live right here, right now.
Mhm.
Instead of waves, now it feels like the light is just being overlapped with darkness and different, way more confusing than the waves. Like scrolling through pictures, but I can't see the pictures.
Just before that, imagine that self, just before the moment of the medicine, and all of that 13-year-old self. What would you want to tell him?
Everything's gonna be okay.
Does he believe you?
He knows, but he hasn't got the patience, just like me. Why
Of
not
course he
right
does.
now?
Yeah. Yeah. And what would you tell him?
Good question. I never given myself advice. Hmm. I'll probably tell myself to just keep doing what I did. No one can do better than that best.
Does he want to join you in the present moment? The Heinz of today?
Hmm, I don't know. Sort of like he had his time. You go take your time, go take care of your time. But the light got more constant, so more focus feels like walking into a room of just pure light. Hmm.
Sometimes these can just be aspects that we've left behind. They're just parts of us. Usually they're wounded, hidden, stuffed away. They're just aspects. It's just energy. And it's energy that's part of us. That's energy. Sometimes we need to release it and let it go away. And sometimes we have to bring it in and with us, meaning align it. Because it's the care, it's the attributes that are us. You could call it a perspective. What does this 13-year-old need to hear from you?
Everything's gonna be okay.
Does he believe you?
Hmm. I don't think so. That was a real rowdy time in my life. Not easy in school. Nothing was easy.
What did this 13-year-old just want?
Peace.
And
Someone to actually talk with.
here you are. And
I'm in the same situation as he was.
and
Hmm. Good question. I've always liked things just being simple.
someone to love him just as he is. See him for just who he is. And only you can do that. You of today can go back to that moment and see that, bridge that, connect that, align that, because you have it today. It's the wisdom that you can give to that 13-year-old self. What language did you speak when you were 13?
Mm, Danish.
Sometimes we need to tell our 13-year-old self the words in that language. And we're not work forcing. Sometimes they're not ready to join with us.
I think that's it. I think I'm trying to force something that just should happen naturally. Maybe I should do a lot more meditation then. This was a new way of doing it. Never thought of meditation this way, looking backwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always trying to be present. That's my norm. Be right here, right now.
You are present, just going back to the past. So leave a gift. What gift would you leave for this 13-year-old?
Mm.
Knowing that you're anticipating when you can come back.
I think all he would ever have wanted was just a normal hug.
That's give him that. Ask if he can have that. Can you guys share that? Can you embrace that? Did you hug?
Yeah, but it's not a picture. It's way more than a feel. Just a feeling of doing it.
Mhm. Good.
Oh, all lightheaded. Woo. Some trip. Ooh. Oh, feel way lighter. Like I still didn't return to my body.
Not yet. Well, now does this 13-year-old want to move forward with you from 13 to your present age today? Do they want to move forward with you? You'll show them everything along the way that you've experienced, stopping any time. Hand in hand, will they move forward with you?
I have the feeling they've always been there.
Good.
That no matter what age I take it, it's sort of right behind just a different door.
Good.
They're probably with So like I don't see time moving, it's me moving through time instead.
Yep. Perfect. So do they want to come forward with you?
Feel they're always here.
Great.
I'm
So let's
13, I'm
just,
4.
good,
Every age I've been.
good. Just connecting all the way back throughout, bringing all of that in, all of that learning, that release, and just bringing it all the way to the present moment of today. Grounding back into the reality. Just right back into the moment. Good. I can't say that's going to help you see anything.
I think it was what you said that I'm fighting myself in it.
Good.
That it's those expectations. Because I feel everything. It's like I felt hugging, I felt everything like. But I've always been more feelings than what things I can feel what they're feeling. This is something I need to train, I guess. I never trained this part of myself. So it's probably new. And what do we say about new things? New things are scary.
Mm-hmm.
Until we've done it once, then oh, it was just like that. That's easy.
Yeah.
But it was like
It's it.
flipping pictures or holding them in your hand and just. But I didn't get to see anything because it went so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I feel so light. Oh.
Yeah, drink some water.
do feel thirsty. And this is what people do for hours when they meditate. Whoa.
Maybe.
Whoa.
What did that's a demonstration of releasing and connecting energies from our past. That was a big block. Something happened at 13, right? That blocked it. So that part chose not to come with you any farther, even though it's always there, right? But they kind of hide out in the back, in the corner behind the door and say, no, I'm not going. You can imagine a adolescent 13-year-old resisting. Yeah.
I don't think they want to go through the medication, the bullying, the loss of 2 children, everybody dying.
Yep. Yeah.
They just
So
see
it's just
that safety.
that's right. Just a pattern they didn't want to, and so they didn't want to step into one thing, which didn't allow them to step into all the others. So in a way, we're going through everything incompletely. It's just that energy that's resisting it.
But this was really some good training. This is something I can use. This is way better than trying to meditate.
Oh, yes. And so what you'll notice is that you were able to go back to the age of 13.
It was way more tangible. It was a feeling, really emotional, actually.
Yeah. And so if you just think of the development of a child at 13, that there's already a lot of baggage, fears, resistances, concern of blocking energy for a 13-year-old.
Yeah, I didn't have any friends, bullied in school.
Mhm.
Parents had no time.
Yep.
But still, I felt actually pretty happy.
And so and where that wounding happens is right around 3.
I always thought
2,
the world
3.
was meant to love.
Sorry, say that again.
I always thought the world was meant to love instead of hate.
That's
This is
right.
something. This has been me my whole life, but I wasn't allowed to think like that by the so-called friends, by anybody. So
That's
I
right.
chose reality escape on medication weed.
That's right.
And then I
And then
sort of fit it in, sort of, but it wasn't fitting in still.
Yep. And what you can practice doing is just seeing how far back you can go in your meditations, because you'll only go as far back as your block will allow you to.
Well, I won't get anywhere below 5 years because I have no memories at all. None.
Well, that's because you blocked them off at 5, but I guarantee you do.
I was born with 5 years of middle ear infection, so a lot of pain in my childhood and no memory of it.
There you go. So I'll tell you, one of the greatest experiences for me was going through birth again.
Whoa. We're born of pain.
Yeah, there you go. So now you can, and when you go back, just like you did with the 13-year-old, you can readjust that energy, right? You can release what you've been storing.
So I can release those feelings in a way.
That's right. Because they're just feelings, they're just the reality you made up. So yes, you can go back and release them and then replace them.
Wow.
And then
See,
you'll go back to conception.
I never had anybody explain it like this. You're always great at explaining stuff, so I can understand it. But 1,000 people may say the same thing, but you'll only understand one of them.
That's why we need everyone to do their self, their authenticity. That's why we can't all just pretend to be the same, which is what they've conditioned us to be. Like that's what the structure says we need to be, is to be this way, fit this way. And so everyone's trying to fit through this door.
Then it will be a big blockage if everyone tries to fit through the same door.
Yeah, nobody gets what they need to hear. Well, we just widen the door.
See, this I could do for half an hour, but
Hmm.
trying to do what they say meditation is, as soon as I sit down there, it'll say, are you sure your posture's right on my mind sleep? Are you breathing correctly? Doesn't your feet hurt? All
Right.
sort of stuff that I can't relate to, and then I lose the concentration.
You're already so present in the moment. That's what the meditation's really trying to do, is get present in the moment. Is connect to it, be aware of it. And when you do that, I call that neutral. And when you're neutral, you can move all over. And then as we move all over, then we're just looking for the negative and positive charges.
Wow.
From our past and of our future.
So this is much more like exploring instead of meditation.
That's right. It's exploring through the meditation. And what are we exploring? We're exploring energies, flowing energies and blocked energies.
Probably those waves I'm seeing, energies.
Energy is waves and light.
So I just need a translator to see what those waves and those lights mean.
You are the translator of it. Yeah. Your imagination is the translator.
Find that place within myself where I can actually, like having a radio and translating the radio waves to music.
You are an energy receptor, you bet. And your younger version of you knew that, or maybe it was all the way back into the womb of your mother, and maybe it was generationally, like that aspect has been blocked. Like we don't know how far back it goes.
Oh, I was I wasn't present back then, but I was way more flying back then, way more aligned with that part, and then sort of came a big gap, and then after losing our children, I sort of learned to be present and just stuck with that. Like no one's gonna bring me out of it unless, of course, they say something about my children, and then I'll sort of lose my presence, because that's the only thing I actually really are willing to go to the future for. So it's sort of not fighting, but working against the being present and more like drifting again.
Mhm,
Need to find a balance between those two.
mhm.
Whoa. But I still feel so light.
Mhm. And you can, I connect that lightness to releasing energies, releasing stored emotions, stored energy, energy that was trapped. That to me is what was released.
Yeah, that's the first thing I feel as soon as people tell me what to do like that, and I sort of feel like I'm drifting within myself, just becoming lighter and lighter. But I still don't see anything, but that's the connection, the radio that needs to be attuned.
Mhm.
Because I do get the emotion.
Yeah, you have the emotional aspect of it, which is that's you know, some people just see it through the emotions.
Mm.
And when I get the feeling of something, I look for the action. What am I doing? What is that feeling doing? What do I want to do with that feeling? Because what that's telling me is what my automatic is because usually what we want to do is we either want to run, and it's so am I running away from it or towards it? Because that's telling you something, right? Am I fighting it or am I embracing it?
Mm.
Those are the only three things that we can do with the feeling. And there's so much information in that that's telling us whether we're, it's like telling us what we need. And so much when we working with things that we've like trapped negative energy, right? Love is the only thing that sets it free. Which was why I was waiting for you to say this 13-year-old just needs a hug, because you have to say it.
You sort of released a lot of stuff just saying that.
And
Just stuck emotion, like I've been feeling a lot lonely.
mhm.
Maybe it wasn't me, maybe it was the 13-year-old feeling.
Or it was you today that didn't have the 13-year-old.
Mm. Wow.
Because in a way, like the 13-year-old, yes, was with you the whole time, but was stuck where he was at. He like, I didn't want to go forward anymore. I don't want to take on what's coming. I'm not ready for it.
Mm.
I don't know specifically, but it's like that is what that energy does. Like that energy, that 13-year-old made a decision that a certain part of it wasn't going to go any farther.
Gonna hide behind the medicine and the weed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then identified with it afterward.
Yep. That's right. That's right. But, whatever we can do to hide behind it, that's exactly it. So we don't experience life as a full of it because there's a part that's hiding behind it.
Mm. That's probably why I've started to dream so much and everything, because I quit the medication, I quit the weed, what, 7 months ago, 6 months ago, or what? And all of a sudden I start to dream a lot. I did dream, but I just would wake up mad or sad or whatever. I couldn't remember anything from it. And now it's like the Wild West in there. I can wake up thinking. The other day I woke up slamming a flat hand against the radiator, and I dreamt I was actually giving someone a flat flat hand. Then I realized, oh, this is what my wife meant, that I was dangerous to sleep next to.
When you think like how from however 13 to however old you are now, you don't have to tell me, but that long is how long your body, your cells have been conditioned or chemically controlled. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it hasn't been your natural.
it's been 35 years I did it, because I
Mhm.
stopped when I was 48, but that's over 2/3 of my life I've done
That's
it.
right. That's right. And our cells chemically and like they're conditioned to work a certain way until we change that. And that
Mm.
chemical balance becomes different. And all we're doing is trying to align our chemical balance to our originals, our original makeup, our original blueprint, as Ebony would say.
Mm.
Bird agrees,
Yep.
I think.
Yep. She's just lying still and relaxing. So I guess she agrees with you. She really enjoys listening in on these calls. It sort of relaxes her a lot. I think it's the high frequency.
Mhm.
Wow, this was some experience today. Even though I didn't see anything, I felt a lot.
It's one of my favorite processes. I love going back and connecting to our inner child.
Mm. So this is what I should be practicing, not practicing meditation, because you said meditation is just being present, and I'm actually pretty good at that.
Mhm.
So I should
It
be
gets
practicing.
boring. It gets boring.
Yep,
Yeah.
very.
And that's why I started this, is because I got bored with my morning meditations alone.
Mm. The other thing is way more like drifting, like
Yeah.
you're right between awake and sleeping, so sort
Yeah.
of drifts off, just go with the flow.
Yep. And you can only work so much by yourself. And then like in a way, you're not challenged anymore. And in a way, we need to be challenged. And that's what I found is when we work with others, right? It's a whole different way to, I mean, or to meditate.
And you set an extra set of vibrations, or 5 extra sets of vibrations
You know, that we're working to align.
for a common goal. Yeah.
And you've been around long enough that not always are the sessions aligned.
Hmm.
All that does is reveals our individual resistance, our charges, right?
Hmm.
And then we choose how to deal with them.
And sometimes when I haven't been aligned, I thought of God, wow, that's a great perspective,
Yeah,
and sort of adapted that perspective then into my own.
that's right. And so together we change in a way, like meditations are such our own meditation slow, like our slow changes. Like we have to be around other people.
Hmm.
and not around other people judging, but around other people as open.
Mhm. That's why I enjoy these sessions.
Good
Morning,
morning,
Allison.
Allison.
Skulle du også sige godmorgen?
Did you make it in, Allison?
Sorry, I had my mute on. A late good morning and good afternoon, Heinz.
Thank you. Had a good night's sleep?
I did. Thank you very much. Have you had a good morning?
Jess has been, what, sort of teaching, practicing. What was it called? This isn't like meditation. It was, what did you call it, Jesse?
Connecting to the inner child.
Oh,
The inner
very
child,
good.
yeah, the inner child timeline. We went back to 13.
Hmm. That's a significant phase, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Sorry, Jess, I cut you off.
That's so significant. It's been 35 years of pace between.
Mm. Oh, I think
35
we
years
all
of
know
35
that.
meditation and weed.
Yeah. That's a pretty familiar thing to happen.
Yep. Yeah,
But
it seems like
it's
we 13, 6, 7, 8, 2, 3, 1 or 0, and then before that.
yeah.
So that's how people see their past lives move backwards.
Yes. Or they just allow them to appear where they are. I was watching a family video last night of ours that Bruce had managed to transcribe into digital. It was an analog. And Kaylis was about 3 and she was she was a bit sick with a cold. It was so cute to watch her, and it was so interesting for me to see our old home and our life there. And it was a very different feeling. And I kind of wonder about that. And the experience that I had was enormous amount of appreciation and yet a detachment. It was very different for me. Don't often, like most people, I mean, that our lives are so busy, we don't, thank goodness, don't often go back and look at old photos. But the video was different for me. She was so alive. It was so interesting to see that and know that she's now 27. And also wondering, Heinz, about how much of her inner child of those days is with her now, and in this case, those days were very easy. And they didn't remain that way.
Like my father told me, it's short looking backward, but there's a long time to tomorrow.
It's true. So weird how time works, eh? Or our
Yeah.
experience of time, right?
Yeah.
It's our experience of it.
All those things he taught me when I was a kid was something I should actually have heard now instead of back then, because it didn't make any sense back then.
Mm. But you say, as a parent, you say these things. Well, I did. I used to say things to Kaylis, knowing that she wouldn't quite get it. But I think because I was so, I was so concerned that I wouldn't be around. And so she lived with that pressure. It's an enormous pressure for a child. And perhaps that was why it was good to see that this phase that she had, where there was none of that. It was before I'd landed up in hospital for the first time since she was born. It was pretty good.
I read a study on timing. We were talking about timing, and they did a study that they did a control group, right, where time was the same. They did one that was twice as fast, and then one that was half the speed. And all they did was basically set a clock so that it would run that way.
Mm.
And I think they did some sort of like paper cut or a cut on to just see how the body healed.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
God, that's interesting.
And they found that the healing took place as fast as the clocks were.
Yeah. Yeah, I can believe that. That is so interesting. Wow, thank you for sharing that, JC.
We do identify with time.
Yeah,
Yes,
we do. We definitely do.
Unconsciously, so much
Yeah.
unconsciously.
Yeah. And I think that's, well, I mean, in depth meditation, that's the aim, is to stop identifying with the body, but the body and our experience of time are very similar.
Mhm.
So it's to surpass that as well, and then you really go into that realm of where there are no longer cycles even. And I can remember thinking about that, and it was just so foreign to me. I couldn't even imagine. I don't know. I couldn't even put it together. Like I heard the words, but they had very little. I had very little. I don't think I had any connection to them at all. Whereas now, sometimes what I do is I try and remind myself that I am just a collection of molecules of memory. But I have the potential for way more if I rearrange the molecules. And I have this visual of all these colored molecules. And I'm trying to figure out how to arrange them because for me, molecules are round. So then I think, okay, so now I've got to try and get to that space. And of course, you can't think about it. you use your thinking for the intention, and then you've got to let go. But that's one step further than what it was for me when I first got intrigued about what the path was all about.
Thank you. Well, I'm gonna step off, guys. Do you want to keep going?
Do you want to keep on going, Heinz? Are you good?
I'm good. I'm a bit tired after that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm good. Thank you so much for this.
Thanks for a great experience. And this is something I need to practice now.
Mhm. Now you've been there, so yes, now you can do it. You've been there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just need to tune in that radio so I can hear the music instead of just seeing the signals.
There you go. Great.
Good one. Okay, guys. Love you. Thank you
Great.
so
Love you
much.
too. Thank
Love
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.